Most of the time, when somebody tries to make an electrical enclosure like this, they either end up printing it vertically like this or horizontally like this, flat on the print bed. But there's a third way to do it that we're going to talk about in this video. Now, very often, those two most common orientations are the way that everybody does it, because if you have a large format machine, you can print it down flat like this, and this creates a good, rigid, reliable part where the layer lines are all horizontal all the way through the piece, and it's solid and it's reliable and it sticks down well to the bed, and that's fine. But if you have a smaller print bed, you might want to print it vertically. But in this case, what you run into when you design a part like this is you end up having support underneath here and support inside of the piece, and that just turns into a lot of post-processing that can really jack with the cost of the part, especially if you are intending to mass produce it, which is what we do around here. So how do you actually design an electrical enclosure like this to not be printed in either one of those directions? Let's just go through the basics of the design of the enclosure itself. First of all, you're using 3D printing, so you can make chunky parts of the part. You can make these flanges on the outer edge really thick so that you can have a good solid screw point to the piece. You can still have all the same features as another enclosure. This part was actually inspired by an existing enclosure that needed to be replicated. But in order to make sure that you have the same length fasteners, you can make the thinner areas just as you normally would so that you can use the same mounting fasteners that someone had intended originally with the project. From there, you can have thick walls that can either be 2 millimeters kind of minimum up to 5 or 10 millimeters. Again, you don't have to deal with the shrinkage of traditional plastics manufacturing. And since, of course, you're not going to be wasting all the material from having to machine something like this, it's just easier. You can get any geometry that you want. And by allowing those thicker features, you're able to create an interface ridge on the top of the part that a lid can interface with. So when you end up with the lid like this, you have this nice thick outer edge that you can then put a lip on the interior of in order to make this mount onto the box more reliably. But let's go ahead and look at the other way of printing this, because this actually is best done inside of CAD. What you want to do when you're printing a part like this is not actually print it flat or vertical. You want to print it diagonally. Now, this is not very common or very easy to do very often, because what you have to do is if you print it like this, now the center of mass is over, not the center of the touch point on the print bed. So you're going to have the part fall over. So you have to have support back here. But you don't want to have that be auto-generated support because it's just nasty and it ends up creating a lot more material and not always being very reliable. If you're using traditional auto-generated support, it will have a little bit of distance from the part to be removable, so you would end up with flex and wobble as the part is printed. So you have to use designed support. And the way you design this support is just like this. You create effectively a fin off the part. You can do it at a 45-degree angle because a 45 degrees is the best way to print the part. That way you don't have overhangs that can potentially sag by having a steep area over here, even though it's shallow in the back. From there, you design this fin to be about a 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter spaced parallel to the back of the enclosure or the part that you're trying to print. Then you take sprues and horizontally design them to run and merge into the part. You now have this nice little set of ribs that run up here along this fin, and you have this awesome piece of support, which when it's done, all you have to do is break it off and it comes clean, and all you have is a few divots that could be sanded down or you can just live with. It's a very clean way of producing supports. It's also very, very reliable. And you can actually design these a little bit more so that they break closer to the surface of this part if you want to put just a little bit of a break tooth or a notch inside of them. Once you make that part, make sure that the back edge of the flange is also flattened a little bit so that you have a part of the part against the bed. But now you have this part that was printed diagonally, but is really, really reliable. The other thing that the diagonal angle does is it allows you to create a really durable part all the way through. If you print it vertically like this, you can have splitting along these lines because that might be a flexural plane. Same thing goes for printing like this. You can have splitting along this direction as somebody installs it or pulls a screw that breaks the layer lines. But by printing diagonally, you have maximum strength through every feature. So like these holes for mounting the lid onto the top of this, they are actually looped all the way through. So they're not like this where they could split this direction if you put a screw in there too large. They are strong, reliable, and durable. As same thing for the side planes and everywhere else. This is a very good, solid, durable part. Now, the final icing that we did on this was actually to add a little bit of noise to the print so that you end up with this textured surface that just looks really, really beautiful. And then we went ahead and designed the lid, which was then also printed at a similar angle, not quite as steep. We printed this at about a 35-degree angle rather than a 45-degree angle. But now this part is able to merge into the top of it, and you have a fully complete electrical enclosure that is durable, reliable, looks great, and has a bunch of features that are either thick or stronger than what traditional manufacturing would generally allow while still being affordable. This type of enclosure you can produce thousands of and do it affordably as traditional enclosures out there, but you're getting a custom box with features that you need, and you are able to get a style, a look, and a durability and capabilities that you can't get from some off-the-shelf solution that would probably be similar cost at large volumes. If you like this video and you want to see more, click at some of our other videos. We've gone through a lot of ways of designing electrical enclosures and all types of other design solutions, so go ahead and check those out. And drop a comment down below, and of course subscribe to this channel. Have a great day, everybody.